almost noon. Welcome to a new episode of Nonstop Nikhil plus Volatile Vivek. I don't know. And we've just entered the terminal here at Kilimanjaro Ferries. We're waiting for our ferry. We're sitting in what is called the business class lounge, and it looks like it's time for boarding. So right as we found a seat, we're going to get back up and try to board this ferry. We're drenched in our own sweat, but that's not going to end today, so we'll see. On all my Indian Ocean cities, the people watching has been amazing. You can just make a whole conversation, a whole game out of trying to figure out exactly where people are from, what languages they're speaking, and like Vivek says, why do they look like us? I hope that we also puzzle them a little bit with all of our varying dimensions of our identities and our activities and what we're carrying with us and who we are. So I don't know. It's so complex here, and like nothing escapes it. Nothing escapes. Hello, everyone. So it's about 2 hours later, 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. As expected, the boat ride took about 2 hours, and we're about to exit the terminal here into Zanzibar proper, or the revolutionary government, or the island run by the revolutionary government of Zanzibar. The island itself sits about 20-30 miles off the mainland. And given that it is a semi-autonomous island and retains that status in comparison to the mainland Tanzania, you have to actually sign and fill out an arrivals declaration form as if you were entering a new country. And it's kind of a very, very chaotic immigration process. Immigration in quotes, but immigration process. When you have to turn in the arrivals form with your passport at a gate to the officials, just literally shove your passport in their face. They look at it, they stamp it, and then you keep going. We'll get more into this history as we actually spend some time on this island, but for the longest time, Zanzibar Island had more in common and shared more of its history and culture and trade with the rest of the Indian Ocean than it did with inland Africa. And we're just taking a stroll through the center of old Zanzibar, which is called Stone Town. And as you can tell, there's a lot of touristy madness going on here with the people and the vehicles and the shops and restaurants and all. But in the midst of all of that chaos, you also see scenes of very, very daily life. You see old Indian women on the balcony drinking her evening chai. And I think one of my favorite parts of visiting Zanzibar so far is just geeking out on the mix of languages you hear, you see written, you see everything, you hear and see everything from Gujarati to Arabic to Swahili to, of course, English, Portuguese. It's incredible. And just walking down the streets, each of these cultures bordering the Indian Ocean has made an imprint on the architecture, on the city's identity, on the food, and it's all so unique and without compromising on their own authenticity, their way of life, their way of dress. It's all here. And we like to say that America is a melting pot, but Zanzibar really feels like a salad bowl where different people come together to create something beautiful without compromising on their own uniqueness and their own identity. And that all this can really exist together when we usually think that there's a clash of the West and the East. But Zanzibar teaches us the lesson that that's only our modern day conception of cultures. It hasn't always been like that. It's amazing that this is such a living, breathing city, even though it's so touristed. Every turn you take, you end up in another part of the city, which actually serves a purpose. So the area we were just in is the market. You have produce, you've got household items, but you also have concentrations of businesses selling jewelry, all with the label Sonara. Sonara meaning jeweler, and that's obviously taken from its Indic roots. Today's vlog is primarily just me focused on my first impressions of Zanzibar's Stone Town, but there's so much history and so much culture to dig deep into especially all the buildings have a story to tell, and there's so many different religious institutions here, each with their own traditions. So I'm really hoping to dedicate tomorrow and tomorrow's episode to delving deeper into the stories of each street here in Zanzibar, or at least even one or two, covering even one or two, because each building here is so concentrated with culture. As a building moves from being constructed by one group, then inhabited by another, then taken over by another power, and now serving a completely different 21st century purpose today. With that, it's evening time here, and this hasn't been a very eventful vlog, I will admit, but my plan is to just do a quick survey of the city today, see what inspires me and what I want to come back to visit, because I have plenty of days remaining here in Zanzibar to really delve into that history and bring you some interesting stories. So with that, I'm going to end today's vlog with this beautiful sunset. Take care, everyone, and I hope to see you tomorrow with more stories right here from Zanzibar. Good night, everyone.